first thing is I hear your teammates call you Jack. Do you prefer that over Jackson?
I mean, it really doesn't matter. I don't really care what I get called, but Jack, Jackson, Huncho, I don't know. They have a lot of...
What?
Huncho, it's like a weird nickname, a rapper. It's, yeah, just team thing.
How about your last name? Because I think initially I pronounced it with the emphasis on the go, but it's Golightly, right?
Yeah. My dad's side is all named Golightly, obviously, but I've had people call me Golightly, a whole bunch of different mispronunciations, but it's just Golightly. Just kind of say it as quick as you can. My grandpa always tells me before I leave or go play or something, he always says, in all your walks of life, go lightly. I don't know why, but it's kind of cool, I guess.
Yeah, that is kind of neat, because that's not a last name you hear very often. Freshmen, it used to be that freshmen were hazed. They did a lot of things. Is that the way it is anymore, especially on this campus?
Absolutely not. I think that was probably the thing that shocked me the most about college is immediately when I walked into the room with the rest of the team, we had a dinner thing up with Coach Holly. I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you were there or not. But we had to introduce ourselves and everything, and that was the first time I had met a lot of the guys. And immediately I was accepted just as one of his teammates and a brother. So that was cool.
Jackson Golightly is our guest as it's halftime at McKendree. This Division II basketball thing, faster, more physical. What's your impression after a first semester?
It's a little more physical. I mean, it's not anything I can't handle, but I'm trying to get stronger and bigger and everything. I mean, I've got the height thing down, but we need to get a little bit wider and everything. But other than that, the speed of the game is almost perfect. I like it more how it's a little more up-tempo, and everybody's good. I played a lot of teams that weren't very good and in high school, and I think that's helping improve my game a lot, is playing against guys every day in practice and every game that are just as good, if not better. So.
All right, I'm going to give you the scouting report I have on you, and you tell me if it's accurate, okay? Great athlete. Going to be a very good D2 player. Just again, physical, it's one thing because you're building your body up a little bit, but boy, huge upside. Is that kind of the way you feel?
Yeah, I was actually told in high school you never want to be the guy with good potential because you always just want to be the guy that's already there. But I'm okay with that. I'm willing to trust the process and everything and keep improving. And yeah, I really couldn't jump very high until my senior year of high school. I just came in one day and just started dunking, and I was like, wow, I've never jumped this high. I've never done anything like that before. It was a really weird day, but I kept working on it, and I kind of fell in love with it, and then did it all throughout senior year. That's how I scored almost all my points, and then came here, and at the beginning of the year, I don't know, I kind of lost it for a little bit because I hadn't been necessarily working on it or anything like that, but once the games starting up, your legs kind of get back to you, so yeah.
Well, you're talking about jumping high. You put on a show in pregame. You enjoy doing that?
Yeah, that's kind of the time, I don't know, energy-wise, I try to be an energy guy on the bench and everything, so I think that helps, and guys are like, wow, he's like going for it, and he's doing stuff that people might not expect and things like that. So I think that's just an energy boost for me personally. It's just getting myself up for the game, is just doing that kind of thing.
Jackson Golightly is from Marysville, Missouri, and Maryville, sorry, I always put an S on it. What attracted you to Jewell?
Well, actually, I wasn't going to play basketball up until about March of my senior year. I was just going to go to Arizona State, play, not do anything, just go to school. And I don't know what happened. I went to an all-star game with a bunch of people from my area, and then I was like, wow, I would really like to keep playing. Like, I kind of miss going through all that. So I emailed a bunch of coaches and had my head coach email a bunch of coaches, and Coach Holly was one of the first ones to respond. And he talked to my head coach in high school a whole lot on the phone about me and everything. And then a couple of days later, he called me and asked me if I wanted to set up a visit or anything like that. So I came down in a couple of days, and then And it was about June. I was leaving for Mexico, and I decided just to commit right before, so committed right then.
Well, we're awful glad you did, because obviously you have a bright future, as we said. What about, though, the commitment factor playing basketball? I mean, just being a student is enough of a challenge at Jewell, but what about doing both? How's that been?
Really, it's not as hard as I expected it to be honest. I was expecting no break, no nothing, but I usually have time in the evenings after I go eat or something, and I think that's partly on the coaches. They do a really good job of scheduling and getting everything pretty organized, so I usually have time in the evenings to get all my homework done. I usually have a lot, but you kind of have to pick between sleep and study sometimes, so that's probably the only tough thing, is just the sleep schedule is always crazy out of whack, especially with traveling and doing stuff like that.
Yeah, like today, it's about a 4 or 5 hour drive. How is the traveling at the D2 level for you?
I had ridden in a charter bus twice before, which in high school my football team went to state, so the semifinal game was all the way in St. Louis, so we got to take one there, and then the state championship game was in Springfield, so we got to take one there too. Kind of sucks having to share a seat with Sean, but he kind of smells weird. But I'm just kidding. But other than that, it's all right. We usually divvy off because we like to spread out and everything. So one of us will lay on the floor and one of us will lay in the seat. So it works out perfectly fine.
Jackson Golightly, our guest. Would you take a moment, tell us about your family, please?
Yeah. I have a mom and a dad. Their names are Brian and Rachel. My dad is a family practice doctor in Maryville at St. Francis Hospital, and my mom was a stay-at-home mom for a really long time and kind of took care of us while my dad was at work. But my junior year of high school, she ended up getting her real estate license, so she's doing real estate now. I have an older sister who lives in Phoenix, Arizona, and graduated from KU in 2016 and with a degree in exercise science. And then I have a little brother who's a sophomore in high school. His name's Jaron. He is super musically talented, plays as many instruments as you can think of, and I think that's pretty cool. So.
And what does the future hold for you? You're an English major and a public relations major, right? Okay, so what does that mean for you in the future, do you think?
I really have no idea. I could see myself doing a lot of different things. I try to be multifaceted in things that I do, but as long as I'm doing something that I don't wake up and drag myself to, as long as I wake up and feel okay with what I'm doing, that's perfectly fine with me.
Well, it's a pleasure to visit with you a little bit. Jackson Golightly, our guest. Thank you very much.
Yep, no problem.
And we'll be back with the second half in just a moment.